The past couple days, I've gotten a grab bag of questions, and I'm going to answer them, including beer and Left 4 Dead. Oh, yeah, that was fun times. But so the other question I've gotten some of is like, hey, what about Half-Life 3 or Left 4 Dead 3 or whatever? Hey, I don't know, man. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't talk about that stuff. I don't know about that stuff. I don't ask my friends who work there about that stuff. That's up for them, right? When I was there, I shipped a lot of games. I shipped Half-Life 2 Episode 1, Episode 2, Portal 1, Portal 2, Left 4 Dead 1, Left 4 Dead 2, Team Fortress 2. Alien Swarm I play tested, I guess. Day of Defeat Source, CSGO. Like, hey, I shipped a lot of stuff, man. I shipped a lot of stuff for the years I was there. So I don't know, man, whatever they're doing, right? But it's not a lot of people. There's that article. Not a lot of people, right? So, okay. Oh, and that said, the first question's about playtests. And there is a playtest that is happening with a friend's game. And they've let us have invites, and we can accelerate the acceptance of the invite or whatever to their private testing. So if you want to come by, discord.gg/StrayBombay, we'll be playing that. Tomorrow night we're playing TF2. That is full already. We are full up there. But so here's a question on how do you set up a good playtest? Are there any tips or tricks to get responses? Now, there's two kinds of playtests. Talk about first the design one. This is the non-Left 4 Dead story one. The design one is you're really rough. You don't care about crashes. You don't care about things. You don't want people to break the game. So you have to say this to people because often people try to break your game and you're like, don't. If you know something's going to break it, don't do it. We're not looking for what breaks the game. We're looking for what you do in the game, what you experience in the game, what you play the game. And you'll be really upfront with people. That's what you're looking for, right? And then you just let them play and hopefully you watch them. That's the best. But you can also record them. You can also get questionnaires. You can get feedback. You can watch their video. You can, you pretty much got to try to get any data any way you can. But these are really early ones, and which is why in our Discord, it's helpful to go to a place like that where you can have something really early, really loose, and be like, hey, I'm trying to find the thing here. Can you help me test it? So the other is, hey, we want to ship this, and we're just looking for crashes and other weird, wacky stuff on as many different kind of computers as we can. So during Left 4 Dead 1, we're having a lot of memory crashes, a lot of problems. This is a grind. We're a small company again. And so what we did was we took, and it was on the Xbox 360, and so what we did was we took all the Xbox 360s and we just had them ringed around the entire set of offices in the hallway. And you could 24/7, you could just come out there and you could just bring your friends, you could do whatever. We just needed people play testing it and seeing if they could crash it. We didn't like it. They could give us feedback, that's great, but really we just cared like, did you get a crash? Did you get a 360 crash? And then is it the 360's fault? Because boy, those dev kits. But so during that, one of our animators, Jamal, sends out a company-wide email to everybody. He said, hey, coming into the office, going on a beer run, what do people need? And I'm like, oh my God, I've lost control. People are going to think that I'm just the worst person, that like I've just turned this whole office into a giant party, and what the hell, where's this going? I mean, besides it does show that people were having fun and bringing their family and friends because they were having a good time. I solved this problem though. And one of the level designers brought in kegs of beer and we put them in the fridge. And then we didn't run out of beer anymore. And then someone complained that there wasn't enough room for their food in the fridge. And I thought that was not a problem. But yeah, that's the kind of play tests that are fun to do because you're just looking to break it and you're having fun. And like I said, you have a bunch of people coming over. That said, small company, everybody doing it, everybody pitching in. They're trying to get away from doing that. Everybody had to work on the game. But even then, at that kind of point, especially Left 4 Dead 1 time, Left 4 Dead 2 was a little better. I distinctly remember one of the. And this is next question. So that's your playtest, right? But make sure you understand which playtest you're having because you don't want to do the looking for crashes when you really want the design one. I distinctly remember one of Left 4 Dead early video previews talking about reinforcing with barricades, boards, and windows, get ready for the zombie hordes. Nope. Am I crazy? That never happened. Because at that point, early on, if you remember, we didn't even have crescendo events. In crescendo events, Philco came up with crescendo events. It was a break. And the problem we had was people were getting exhausted. They were getting fatigued of just doing the same thing because it was just run and gun the entire time. And so crescendo events was the idea was everything stops, nothing spawns, nothing's going to happen to you hit a button or do something that will cause zombies to come. And yeah, there's some paper thin connections. of what sets off the zombies. But hey, whatever. But that was to let people take a break and then have those kind of moments where they could board up. We actually did some stuff with the end of Dead Air, where originally it was playing around with the idea of building up like using a bunch of boxes and moving them around and stuff. But it was always like you did all this setup, and then when it didn't go well, you just kind of felt really frustrated and not good. So, yeah. Another one, have you ever had to deal with a creative block on some project? If so, what kind of methods have you found that help push you through them? From my epiphany last night, one thing I've noticed that helps is setting aside the aspects of the block that is giving me the most stress so I can focus on less difficult aspects. Yes! That is exactly it. I call that, from my old painting days, that's rainy day work. You have the big thing that you want to work on. Right, and so like when you're painting a house, you have the house, the outside of the house. But if it's raining, you can't do that. So what you do though have is like you have all the window frames and the screens that you brought down. And you can paint those, right? And so it's rainy day work. And so I like to have things that like that. You nailed how I do it. Is I just do something that's easy that I know how to do. So I feel good about it, and I get back in and off, and that kind of gets the brain going another way. Especially like right now, where I'm with the personal project. There's a lot of writing. You know, often I just write. I'll get something in my head and I'll just write and I'll put on music and I'll just write for an hour or two and then probably throw out most of it. But it's just kind of getting that out there and kind of just grinding out on it. When I get stuck on stuff, I got stuck on the stupidest thing the other day. It was a checkbox that I didn't check right. Man, I wish I was smarter. But yeah, that's a good way to do it for me. I'm curious if other people have suggestions on how they get out of it. Often I find this is when you don't know what to do. If it's just work, like I used to joke at Valve during frustrating times of like, give me a shovel and tell me to dig a ditch for a mile and I'll be happy. Because I know how to do that and I know what to do. It's when we don't know what to do and you're all like, that I get really kind of antsy and frustrated. And that was actually some of the Source 2 stuff during that development of it. And that's, some people were asking like, what was the problem with the look at? It was, I think it was more with the rigging and the animation versus the actual figuring out the math. They know how to do math. But it was that system really, the Source 2 had come through first for Dota and then later for FPSs. So it didn't really have all of that set of tools. But it was really fun working out on some of these early stuff for the VR stuff. And that's actually some of the stuff that comes up is I worked on the Blue demo for the Vive reveal, and I remember the SDK updates that swapped out all of the controller positions due to bad .product eval. Wild stuff happens on the frontiers. Oh, so then this is a person who's gone through the pain, and I will always look fondly on them. Is there's a point where just replacing the batteries, because they had batteries in them, and to replace the batteries, you just thought you were going to break the controller. They were the sombrero hat, ugly controllers. You can still see some places, somewhere. But yeah, it was just like so fragile, so problematic, and but you got to start somewhere, right? And it's really important to remember that stuff starts like that. Did you know when they did the demo at GDC, everybody who got the demo put on a little belt that had a USB hub on it because we had too many USB connections because of the sombrero controllers, because they weren't wired. They were wired at first. They weren't wireless. I thought I was going to sink us. But like, you got to start somewhere and you just work from there and you go, right? And you just don't care. You just keep pushing on. And that gets to this last one then. You guys did that mixed reality trailer before engines had the capacity to quad out. The amount of low-level hacking he must have done to get those shots blows my mind. So first, a lot of those shots, that came from the people who did Fantastic Contraption, right? It's Fantastic Contraption, the whimsical game. Colin and Sarah and group figured out how to do a lot of the mixed reality stuff. And then if you go back and you look at the announced trailer of the Vive or the release trailer, you'll see me in there. I wasn't supposed to do that, but like this is a classic thing of why I always tell people solve problems is we'd rented out the space. We knew we were going to do this big mixed reality trailer there. We had all the setup for it. So I reached out to some developers and said, hey, we're going to have this big space. If you want to come in, I'll be in. And we had like a party the night before because I think it was like Steam Dev Days and like a lot of stuff going on, right? And so I was a little tired, but I still showed up, right? Because I'm like, oh, I'll be there, see if they need any help with anything. It's like on a Saturday afternoon or something. And with someone else was going to do the voice, like do the hey, good to see you. But ends up I'm good at doing the skill set I have. And so that person was like, hey, can you just do this? And so there's another time that I just being there took over and did it. And it was just, we brought a new group in. They would see the demos and everything, and we would record them. And every time you do it, you're like, oh, I should do this, I should do that, you should get better at it. I actually redid the voiceover all of that and had to say the word virtual so many times that I couldn't say the word virtual anymore. It just lost any meaning to me. And one group showed up so hungover and drunk that the booze still just came from their pores. It's crazy. We didn't use them in the club. But that group that did it, that's all honest reactions. We just filmed like 10 hours of people's honest reactions, and that's my energy the entire time. Kept it up there because I was on. Again, weird skills you have to use sometimes. But again, like all of that is like you just put yourself in there, you do it, and you keep going, and you keep going, and you keep going. And to like the creative block and all of that that's just all this. You start somewhere and you grind it out. There's no magic. There's no secret sauce. There's no hacking. You aren't making games the wrong way or whatever. I should have started this video like, I don't know. So that is all the questions from that. I think I caught all of them. If I didn't catch one of your questions that you did ask during that, and it was asked in good faith, sorry, let me know or ask it again. But now I will remember to hit and close this out. And again, I am trying to purposely just be positive and in a good space because I don't know about you, but on every video platform, it's a hellscape right now. We don't need that. We like games. Let's play games. We had a good game of Ultraviolence yesterday. Man, it's a good fun mode with a lot of craziness in it. I'm gonna take breaks from that. Like I said, TF2 Wednesday. I think we're playing something coming up. Mortarmen didn't hit. We're going to do that next week because they had some crash problems that they want to do. So like that said, they didn't want to look for crashes. They want to look for design feedback. But again, if you have games that you're working on or something to share, even if it's just people share art, they share 3D models, whatever they want. We have a showcase in our Discord for that. And people love to see it. I love to see it. I just like to see cool stuff. Like, that's my whole goal here. I just want to see cool stuff. So if you have cool stuff to share it with us at discord.gg/StrayBombay. Otherwise, have a good day, good night, whatever. I don't know.